Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Psycho Gold and this is Psycho Gold Videos. Now, it's Monday and Monday is a very busy day in the world of anime. For some unbeknownst reason, everything I seem to be watching seems to be airing at the same day. And today, we have Dororo, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. And the first one that has dropped of the three of these is Dororo. So we're going to be checking that out right now. Now, it is my hope that we can get this out on the Monday itself, but I don't know because it's a very busy day for me. I also stream on Mondays, and unfortunately I didn't realize that 3 anime that I want to watch air on a Monday. So, it's entirely possible that this video may get delayed, or this might be the only one that comes out on Monday. The other 2 might end up coming out on Tuesday, which is what happened last week, and that was without checking out Dororo. But, with that said, I am really looking forward to checking this episode out. I absolutely loved episode 1. Hasn't got as many views as I thought it would get, which was kind of surprising, but I don't care. As I've said many times before, I watch the anime that I want to watch and hope that that anime will find its audience, or the audience will find it, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way it goes. Either way, I think this anime is going to be one of the best ones of the season, so I'm sticking with this, regardless of what happens. I really hope it can keep up the same level of quality that we got in the first episode, and I can't wait to watch this opening again, man. It was so good in the last one. I'm going to be watching this like a hawk to see whether or not I can get any more details about where it might be going, and I had quite an in-depth thought process at the end of the last episode, so I'm very curious to see if I'm going to have the same reaction at the end of this episode, but I suppose it all depends what it's about, so let's find out, shall we? 3, 2, 1... Back in those days. Oh, it's the dude with the guitar! Or, not a guitar, it's a... whatever it's called. It was not uncommon for travellers to vanish without a trace. Damn. What the hell is that?! Oh, okay. It's straight into the opening, then. The story of Bandai. I don't think this is about the toys that they make, somehow. Ah, his face looks relatively normal now. He's not having to wear the mask. I'm not fussed about how the sword is fixed to his arm, but I would love to know how the swords can operate his fingers. I mean, it must have some pretty advanced mechanical, design on the inside of those arms for the hands to be able to operate. Because he definitely gripped the sword. Oh yeah, look, there we go. He can do precision movement. I'm sorry. Don't stab me with your weird sword arm. I love the way the fish don't fall off. Whoa! I was gonna say, let Dororo cook it. Or someone cook it. But I'm guessing it's gonna be Dororo. I'm still not entirely sure whether Dororo is a girl or a boy, but I saw some people say Dororo was a girl, but I honestly don't know. Has he never had it cooked before? Has he just ate it raw? Yeah, that's the bit that confuses me the most. If he can't hear, how is he, like, able to understand what the hell other people are going on about? Because he seems to be able to pick up on what it is that Dororo's talking about. Ah, so he has that. Here we go. There's that same vision. The fire of the soul. Ah. So it's the same with that. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, it's almost identical to Daredevil's way of seeing, color-coded. Superhuman senses and strength, of course, of course. It was the second soul to do so. Ah, so somebody else helped him previously, I guess? I mean, I wondered if it was this guy, but surely it's got to be the blind man who also slays monsters, because he's the perfect person to be his former trainer, right? But this guy's the one with all the prosthetics. Very, very interesting. I'm very curious as to his backstory. Like the 16 years we've missed, man. Not being able to communicate or sense anybody else must be... That's just... I can't even imagine that, basically. Well, there it is. So, why didn't he go after it straight away, I wonder? Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's not in the habit of slaying monsters. Maybe he knows specifically which ones he needs to go after. Yeah, I mean, there isn't really any harm in letting them try. What they got to lose? Oh. Why is he filling in for the chief, I wonder? Our chief's name is Bandai. Ah, this is the story of Bandai. I was gonna say, it must not inspire confidence, though, when you see the supposed master monster killer needing to be led around by the kid. I think they make money by giving people like you to the monster. Okay. Or is he? Because they said that the color of the soul... I wonder if that's why the old man didn't attack him. No, I don't think he does want to fight. It doesn't come off very easily unless he wants it to. Interesting. So, he knew that his motivation wasn't lethal, obviously. Why does she want to meet them all of a sudden? Something's not adding up here. This all seems very fancy, in inverted commas, you know? Something's not right. You're really pretty. Fair enough. Nah, I don't trust her. She doesn't look right. Oh! There we go! No, she isn't. I didn't think she was. Yeah, so the thing that looks like a monster isn't a monster, and the woman that's somehow become in charge of the village isn't really a person. But I don't know, like... No, she really wasn't looking... She wasn't a kind-looking lady at all. No, he sees more than you do. There he is! There we go. Oh, they both responded at the same time. So they must both be sensing whatever this is. What's gonna happen? Uh-oh. I was gonna say, that's fine. What the heck is there? Oh. Damn! Gone straight back for the woman. The worst color of all, blood. So what the heck is she then? Oh? Oh! Wait, what? What the hell? I was gonna say, it's a demon. It's a weird looking demon. Those things are like hands. It's gone straight through him. Oh! But he managed to take his its eyes. Yeah, I was right. They did feed the travelers to her. But, so I was half right. Damn. So it wasn't the dude with the bell. Yeah, so for some reason he wants that dude with the bell defeated, I think. Oh! Damn, man! Oh! Game over! It was the only one that couldn't get you. Have you come to get the rest back? Yes. Yes, he has. Let's see if you... Perfect! Oh. So they just went along with it. For their own greed. It wasn't anything to do with fear. Oh, it's the sound of the bell that the first traveler carried. I see. It's natural for those with sight to be tricked. Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. Oh, that's why Dororo was staring at her. He thought it... Okay. Hyakimaru. Wait, isn't that the name that we saw at the end of the last episode? When they put the mask on the dead body. I know now too. Oh, he's put two and two together. So he obviously wasn't the person that raised him then. It was you on the river. Oh, he was saying that out loud. Okay, so is he going to stick with them? That would be nice. I would love that if the old man was going to be one of the main characters. I bet another one of the statues has been broken. Oh, and it has too. Here we go. That took a long time for the statue to break. What's happening? What's he getting back? It can't be his bones, can it? Surely he already had them. Oh! Okay, well I guess we'll have to find out on the next exciting episode. Damn, man. Love this show. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dororo episode 2, and damn, man, what an episode. That was just so good. I really love this show. I'm constantly taken aback at just how good this show is. I wasn't even gonna be watching this one. This show wasn't on my radar, and I'm so glad that I checked it out when some people recommended it to replace Goblin Slayer. A couple people said that it's really dark, and I was like, this show sounds like my cup of tea, man. And that first episode was brilliant, and this second episode, at least for me, is just as good, man. One thing I didn't talk about last week as well was that the ending, even though I said it was kind of a bit weird because it looks like they're like almost like work in progress frames for the animation, I actually really like it. The OST is really nice, and I just think, especially after watching 2 episodes and seeing the overall tone of the show, I actually think it's a really like poignant ending. It kind of enhances the overall sadness of the show, because it is a sad show, even though this episode was pretty hype in my opinion. But it is one of those things like of finding the light in the dark places, of finding happiness when your life is overwhelmingly depressing. It's the tiny glittering moments in what is otherwise an entirely well of darkness that I think this show is about, and I think him having a friend in Dororo is what's going to ultimately make the difference to him, even though at the moment he's not really able to commune with him effectively. But as we just saw, he can kind of somehow pick up on what he's saying and understand him, because obviously he tried to say it back to him in the end of the episode, and then he ended up writing his name in the sand, and I thought that was a beautiful moment. It's like he is trying to reach out, he is human still, and you know, he probably never had any real connection other than whoever this other person is. Like I said, now we know it's not the old priest. I'm fairly confident it's going to be the guy who's going around giving all these bodies prosthetic parts. I half wonder if those scenes where we're seeing him go around and fix up the dead is actually in the past, and at some point in the season we're going to see him come across a younger version of the main character, Mr. No Name, and we'll actually see him outfit him with these limbs, maybe create some custom stuff for him, because there's no way that's standard, man. And I guess we'll have to go from there as to whether we'll get half the show is the past, half the show is the present, because I think it could work. I think of all the shows I've watched that have tried to pull that off, this one I think could actually succeed in making me not hate it, and it could be interesting to see both what he's like now as a dual-wielding badass and what he was like, you know, when he first started trying to learn how to use these animatronics. Not animatronics, prosthetics, but I suppose they are kind of animatronic, but you know what I mean. It's just very interesting. I really like it. I really like it. This episode as well highlighted something else that I really like, in that morally grey area that I talked about in the first episode, saying that this show isn't necessarily black and white. What looked to be the obvious monster that they needed to slay wasn't the case. What looked to be the damsel in distress wasn't a damsel in distress, and I find it really interesting that they use the fact that the old man and our Mr. No Name are both blind, and in reality they are the only two people that can actually see the situation for what it truly is. And yeah, in some respects it is something that you're familiar to if you've ever watched any kind of storyline where someone who's blind is a central character, but I don't think it's a tired trope. I do think it's still cool to see that happen, and I love it when people who everybody else is assuming is almost at a disadvantage, they actually have an advantage, which is what the priest actually said himself in the episode. Seeing an underdog being able to pull out a victory is always satisfying, and I think both of our main characters are underdogs for completely different reasons. Obviously, Mr. No Name does have a lot of power and force behind him, but he has still ultimately lived a very terrible life, and life has been very cruel to him, but he hasn't let that make him become cruel. Like, he's only attacking demons, he's only attacking ghouls, he's only going after people whose souls are of an aggressive, evil nature. You know, he refused to attack the other monster. Now, obviously, he didn't know it was a monster. He could only see the color of its soul, or if it even had a soul, maybe he couldn't even tell it was there, because other than, you know, the sound of the bell, which he can't hear anyway, if it was only a personification of the bad things that the town had done, there's a chance it might not have even registered for him, which is why he wasn't fussed by it, because ultimately there's nothing it could actually do. It was just there to torment the town and make them, you know, really feel their guilt. And guilt is one of the most powerful, most worst emotions out there, man. Guilt is soul destroying. It eats away at you. It keeps you up at night. When guilt properly takes hold, there's a reason that we have like therapists and so many drugs, and 9 times out of 10 guilt is the reason why we get so many mental problems, because whether or not we actually should feel guilty, often humans do feel guilt, and if you don't deal with it, if you can't deal with it, or if you don't accept it, and I'm speaking from personal experience there, it catches up with you, and then it makes everything 100 to 1,000 times worse when it finally hits you like a brick wall, man. And I think this was a perfect representation of that. Like, the town is pretending like everything is fine and happy, but in reality, you know, they really wanted him to slay that because they just can't cope with the sound of the bell. It's just the sound of a bell, but it reduced the villager to his knees because he couldn't cope with his own guilt, with his own emotions, with his own memories of all the things that they'd done. And yeah, ultimately all they'd probably done was point them in a direction and said goodbye. But they did that knowing full well that these people who have only come to help would be going to their deaths, and in some cases they probably did it to people who actually were just passing through, who were just come across the village randomly, you know? I doubt very much that they just specifically only gave the Lady Bandai people who had come to kill a monster. I mean, you can see it when they're walking through the town when he's taking them to meet Bandai. Everybody else was kind of like holed up in their homes because they knew what was going to happen next. And of course, because it didn't go according to plan and he unsheathed the sword, obviously everybody come to her defense because they didn't want the monster turning on them. They didn't want to lose their source of money. And it's just, oh, that thing that Dororo said with, you know, the humans are worse than the monster. And it's like, how many times has that been said across various different fictions, man? You got it spot on, my friend, but unfortunately, we never seem to learn. This is all the way back in feudal Japan. If that monster came again now, it would have more to feed on than it would know what to do with, and no one would even bat an eye or notice, I imagine. And that said, speaking of the monster, the design of the creatures in this show are really, really interesting. I love the samurai in the first episode that was like a praying mantis. I love the sludge monster. And then this one gave us a really weird looking, like a sort of scorpion, Terror from the Deep hybrid. You guys know what creature I hope when I say Terror from the Deep, but I don't know, man, just its face was very almost like monstrous fish-like, and its arms almost reminded me of sort of like a lion, but again, more like aquatic looking. But then it had like a tail that was actually a person, and it kind of had like scorpion curve whenever it was attacking, but its hair had hands. I absolutely love the design of the monsters, and if these monsters are actually taking inspiration from actual Japanese creatures, which I know from previous exposure to some of their older literature, they have some exceptionally messed up creatures, and they are terrifying as all hell. And I think it's about time that some of them got pulled upon and called up into mainstream media or into some form of entertainment media, because some of the monsters that Japan has to offer are downright terrifying, man. And how there haven't been more horror films that, you know, appeal to Hollywood, or at least Western cinema, not necessarily Hollywood, but yeah, how they haven't made more with Japanese monsters, I don't know. But if this anime is going to be drawing upon more crazy designs like this instead of the standard, like, what you think of when you think of a demon, like, I'm really, really, really looking forward to some of the other monsters that we're going to be seeing. I'm very curious, though, is there only going to be, like, 12 episodes in this show? Because there's 12 demons, so is there more to do after this? Because I know that everybody has told me that in the original manga, it's 48 demons, which would obviously make the story last a lot longer, whereas the anime has shortened it to 12. But I don't actually know how many episodes this show has, so I'm kind of wondering, you know, is this just going to be a case of he finds everything, then maybe there might be a 13th episode, the end, or is this just the start of his adventure once he has reclaimed what was stolen from him? Is there then more to adapt? Is there more storyline? I would love to see more from this world once we actually get past that point. It would be very interesting as well, because his character, by definition, would be completely different, because he's going to be able to see, he's going to be able to hear, he's going to be able to talk, and that's going to be completely overwhelming for him. I mean, just seeing him try to cope with getting any of his other senses is going to be very interesting, especially his sight. Because it makes you wonder, when he gets his sight back, will he lose his ability to see people's souls, or will he be able to do both? Almost like a detective vision or something, or x-ray vision, or any kind of vision in any kind of game that's open world over the last few years. But you know what I mean. That moment at the end where he got his latest thing back, whatever it was, I'm still not really sure what exactly happened there. Personally, I can't wait for next week's episode to find out. It looked like it was something to do with his muscular and skeletal system, but again, I have absolutely no clue what's going on. It might have just been a cool effect that happens when he gets hit by the lightning or the mystical energy. I honestly don't know. One thing that I have noticed is that this show is not afraid to show blood and gore, which again I liked. Like, we saw the complete bodily shot of that, like, x-ray vision of him, and when he was fighting the monster, we saw him taking out its eyes, we saw him properly take that monster apart, and it's like, yep. I mean, the first episode was pretty grim as well. This is fine by me. I like settings like this, and it's not all just gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous. It fits the world, it fits the story. It made the fight seem very, very interesting to watch, not because it has gore as such, but because I just think that it made certain sequences more impactful, like when he took out its eyes, or at least injured them, and then, you know, we've still got all that purple blood oozing from it, and it's just getting more and more feral as time goes on. But my favourite bit, without a doubt, is when it was trying to taunt him and said, "Oh, so you think you can take it back, do you? Well, let's see if you can." Like, we were building up to some big confrontation, and he just put his sword through its head, and I was like, job done! I would really like it if the priest is going to remain with these two for a bit. I don't know if he will, but I think it'd be pretty cool if he did. It would certainly give a bit more dialogue options for Dororo at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see what happens, I suppose, as the season goes on. But I'm personally hoping that he at least sticks around for a few episodes, if nothing else, but who knows, man? That's going to be it from me for today, guys. Thank you very much for sticking with me till the end. If you enjoyed this reaction, feel free to give it a like, maybe share it around, tell your friends who likes reactions to maybe come and check me out, because I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of people out there who really enjoyed the Dororo anime, but didn't seem to find my episode 1 reaction. I honestly did think that it would get more out there, but it hasn't, but that's okay, sometimes it does. So if you would like to share it around, feel free to. But the more important thing is that you leave me some comments so that we can have a nice chat about what's going on in the world of Dororo. Are you guys still enjoying it? Where do you think the storyline's going to go from here? Did you read the manga oh so many years ago, in which case you already know, so, you know, you don't have time for the anime? Because that seems to be a common response as well at the moment for this anime that I've seen across other people's videos, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? If you're new around here, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring the bell to stay notified if the notifications are working. And that's going to be it, guys. As always, my name is Psycho Gold, and I will see you in my next video. Psycho Gold, out.